पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम् वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम्. By the infinite grace of Sri Lord Krishna and Sri Ramakrishna, we are continuing to study the Bhagavad Gita in detail. We are at the end of the chapter number 5, that is Karma Sannyasa Yoga. Karma Sannyasa means giving up the karma. It doesn't mean giving up the physical karma, giving up the attachment to the results of the karma, that is the real sannyasa, has been spelled out in this chapter. This sannyasa, karma sannyasa, should be practiced by even those who are engaged in the work. What is real sannyasa? What is real renunciation? What is to be given up is not the work, but the hankering for the results of the work. Hankering for the results of the work is the cause of the bondage, that is called samsara. And also we have to give up the agencyship, kartrutva buddhi, and also dedicate all actions to the God. So two phrases convey the essence of karma sannyasa beautifully. Madbhaktaha manmana krutaha madbhaktaha. You immerse yourself in me and you become my devotee. In the 11th chapter, the last shloka, which is the essence of the Bhagavad Gita, it is said, Matkarma krutu matparamaha. Do every action for my sake and also have every action dedicated to me, and also the motive of every action should become the God. So it is the God oriented work, not the self oriented work, that is prescribed in the Gita. In order to achieve the karma sannyasa, one should also practice concentration of the mind. This practice of concentration of the mind is called the meditation. So slowly Shankar Bhagavad Gita introduces to the tenets of the meditation, the process of meditation. The speciality of the Gita is whatever will be introduced, whatever will be spoken in detail, will be explained in detail in the next chapter, will be told in a concise manner in the previous chapter itself. That means there is a continuity between Karma Sannyasa Yoga and the Dhyana Yoga. So we have already studied the shloka number 27 and 28. but in this context it is very necessary for us to recollect it. Sparshan krutva bahirbhashyan. Sparshan means the objects of the senses. The hear is sound. For the hearing, it is the sound that is the object, and also for the eyes have got the forms, etc. They enter into our mind through the senses, and there in the mind they are experienced. Seeing is not experienced in the eyes, seeing is experienced in the mind. So that psychological aspect we have to remember. The sparshan have to be kept outside. They are bahihi, bhashyan. They are outside only. Let them be outside. Let me not allow them to enter into my mind. So when I go to market, I see hundreds of things. I don't remember all of them. They won't enter into my mind always. So only one or two few things which are very attractive to me, I began to think of them. So that is what is called the objects of the senses entering into our mind. So we should not allow in the process of meditation the thoughts of the external world to enter into our mind. This is the method of the meditation. Sparshan krutva bahihi. Bahihi, they should be kept outside. They are outside. We should not allow them to enter into our mind. Sparshan krutva bahirbhashyan, and the chakshushchaiva antare bhruvoho. We should fix the look between the eyebrows. This is a traditional method of the meditation. Of course, there are various processes, methods of the meditation. We have to follow the instructions of our Guru. Guru gives the personal instruction how to meditate. But here in the general sense, Krishna says one should fix the look. One should fix the look between the eyebrows. That is where we have to have the one pointedness. That is the point of concentration for us. Pranapana samau krutva nasabhyantara charino. Nasa abhyantara charino. Nasa means here the two nostrils. Two nostrils of the soul. Two kinds of air, two kinds of vayu are moving about. One is moving about from internal to external, another from external to internal. That moves from inside to outside is called the prana. That moves from outside to inside is called the apana. The same vayu is called by different names. Prana is outgoing breath, and the apana is the incoming breath. They are flowing through the nostrils, and we have to regulate them. We have to stop them, and we have to regulate them. The stoppage of the prana or apana, prana has to be stopped outside. Once prana is blown out, there it should be stopped for some time. That is called kumbhaka. The kumbhaka is the real pranayama. And when the apana is taken inside, we have to stop it inside. That is the kumbhaka. Antar kumbhaka and bahir kumbhaka, that I have already explained in the last class. So the regulation and steadying of the prana and apana which are passing through the nostrils is what is called the pranayama. So Krishna explains the whole process of pranayama in the second line of the 27th shloka. Pranapanau samau krutva, steadying or regulating. Where pranapano, where are they situated? They are moving about. Charinau. Charinau means they are flowing inside the nostril. Nasabhyantarau. nasabhyantara charinam, etc. This is the second step. First one is the withdrawal of the mind. This is very important. Without withdrawal of the mind from the external objects, without withdrawing the mind by the external thoughts also, we are not able to meditate. The same process is called in yoga of Patanjali as the pratyahara, withdrawing inward, taking inward is what is called the pratyahara. So pratyahara, withdrawing the mind from the external objects, is the first step, and the controlling the prana and rapana which are flowing through the nostrils is the second step. The third step is yatendriya mano buddhi, controlling mind, buddhi and indriyas. This is very, very important. This is actually the concentration is the goal of the every kind of meditation, dhyana. So unless we control our mind, unless our control our indriya, the senses, unless our control the discriminative faculty, that is intellect, meditation is impossible. So we may be able to withdraw the mind from outside objects, but there is mind, that is the control of the indriyas. Indriyas are no longer moving towards the objects of the senses. That is the control of the indriya. In case withdrawal of the mind from the objects of the senses is also called indriya sanyama. As I told you in the earlier classes, indriya sanyama is tantamount to, is the same as manas sanyama. But in the manas sanyama has another dimension, as I told you in the last class. Manas sanyama, yata indriya manaha. So there are many obstructing thoughts, there are many distracting thoughts inside our mind itself. They are independent of the objects of the senses found outside. The thoughts do not belong to the outside object, they are inside. For example, we are suffering from the sorrow of the death of a person. The death has taken place 15 days back or 20 days back, still we are suffering. That is completely a psychic suffering. Or we are very joyful for our achievement. The joy is something inside of our being, inside the mind. The joys or the sorrows and different passions. There are two kinds of thoughts according to Patanjali. One is that gives us suffering, klishta. Another is that which gives us happiness, aklishta. That which is not suffering. That gives suffering is called klishta. That doesn't give us suffering is called aklishta. Both kinds of the thoughts have to be curbed. Sarva vritti nirodha. Yogaha chitta vritti nirodha. The vrittis are of two kinds. All the kinds of vrittis are to be controlled. This is the essence of the meditation. So we have learned what is meant by yata indriya, and now we have learnt what is yata manaha and what is buddhi. The buddhi is the discriminating faculty. What is good, what is bad, what is right, what is wrong, what is real and what is not real. The deciding factor is called the buddhi. Buddhi should be cleansed. Unless we have purity of mind, we cannot achieve the purity of intellect. The purity of antaranga by doing good works, always thinking good and developing great qualities like compassion, empathy towards others, we can sharpen our mind, intellect. The sharpening the intellect is means cleansing the dirt out of the intellect. Then only the intellect can reflect the light of Atman. The intellect is the subtlest part of our psyche, which is said to be very near, very close to the Atmic consciousness. And Atma consciousness, it is like a mirror which reflects the light of the consciousness, and the Atma is shines very powerfully in its all its glory when the intellect is controlled. Intellect is cleansed of all its dirt. So no prejudices, no phobias, simple simple understanding of the things as it is. Understanding means here not the secular objects, understanding here means the Atman. Atma, Atma Viveka. The function of the intellect is not to judge about the external things. In spiritual life, function of the intellect is to discriminate, to segregate what is real. Reality, real is Brahman or Atman alone, and the non-real is the Anatman, the external world. So this is the meaning of Yatendriya Manobuddhihi. And that Munihi, this is a very important word. Muni means Mananath Munihi, as Shankaracharya explains. One who always is contemplative, introvert, doesn't worry about the outside happenings, always be happy or blissful in his own self, is called a Muni. Such a Muni is, Shankara explains him as a sannyasi. The real sannyasa comes when becomes contemplative. A great truth is emerging now. One who is contemplative is a Muni. One who is really contemplative can only become a sannyasi. There is not much difference between sannyasa and the dhyani. Dhyana, contemplation, is the inseparable part of the life of sannyasin. Munihi, so parayanaha, he has only one goal. The secular people, the ordinary people, we are all ordinary people, the worldliness has entered into our mind. We have several goals in our life. We want to build the houses, we want to earn more money, we want to be happy in several ways, we have to be joyful, so we want to supersede others in achieving success. So all kinds of goals we have, and we try to fulfill those goals by performing various kinds of works. And Krishna tells in the second chapter, it is the sign of avyavasayatmika buddhi. It is not one pointed uh, conviction we have. Our convictions are many, so our mind is flowing towards many directions. So our goals are many, multifarious goals. So one who has got multifarious many goals doesn't succeed in life at all. At least in spiritual life, God and God alone should be the goal of life. This is what Sri Ramakrishna said repeatedly in his Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. If you read Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, you will read almost in every page, he says God is the only object to be loved. God has to be realized. God is the realization of God is the only object of our life, only goal of our life. Here God is replaced here as moksha, that's all. Moksha, the liberation from the samsara, the transmigratory existence that involves suffering, the recurrence of birth and death, and we have to get rid of it. We have to liberate ourselves. We have to be free from that. That should be the only goal of the sannyasin or the meditative man. So, munihi moksha parayanaha. The qualification to achieve that is in this life he should be free from vigatecha bhayakrodaha. These are the three primary passions. They are only representative, that's all. What about other passions like greediness, etc.? So these three passions Krishna referring to only suggestive of other passions also. One should be free from the fear, one should be free from the krodha, and one should be free from the craving for the worldly enjoyment. Unless we achieve that, at least to a little extent, we will not be able to meditate. Krishna wants Vigatecha Bhayakrodaha Yaha, one who is Sada, always. He should be considered as already liberated. Sada Mukta Yevasaha. So if you read Bhagavad Gita, Krishna takes us nearer to the state where we can liberate ourselves even in this life. When we read Bhagavad Gita, at least at that time, we will be free from fear, we will be free from all kinds of craving, we will be free from all kinds of krodha. At least we are already liberated. So, when you are free from these passions, and if you control the mind, indriyas, and the buddhi, and if you have only one goal, that is moksha and moksha alone, and if you can regulate the prana and apana moving through your nostrils, and if you have kept the outside objects outside itself without entering our mind, and if we can fix the attention, if we can fix the look between the two eyebrows, then such a person is already liberated. He is liberated forever. So the next question is, what is the object of meditation? This is a very important issue. Krishna solves by this question, could solve this problem in the next shloka. He says, God and God alone should be meditated. So there are many teachers who teaches godless meditation. Godless meditation is a chimera. You cannot have the godless meditation. What for you are meditating? To achieve more money, to achieve prestige in this life, to gain more happiness in this life. And if you are doing so, then the godless meditation or God with meditation without God can be practiced. But if you want a spiritual progress, if we want God, we have to meditate on God and God alone. What kind of God we have to meditate? Krishna says beautifully, Bhoktaram Yajna Tapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram Suhrudam Sarva Bhutanam Jnatva Mam Shantim Ruchyati. Such a meditative person reaches the goal. What is the goal of meditation? You have to remember there is no difference between the object of the meditation and the goal of the meditation. Goal cannot be otherwise and the object cannot be a different entity. Goal and the object are one and the same. That's why Krishna emphasized in the earlier shloka, moksha parayanaha, one who is always has goal as the moksha. What is moksha? Becoming God, to be nearer to God, to be one with the consciousness of the God, going nearer to God, to living in the abode of the God, and making our consciousness merge in the consciousness of the God. That is moksha. So what is God? Ishvara is just God. Yajna tapasam bhoktaram. Here the description of Saguna Brahma is given. Nirguna Brahma is not the object of meditation. Nirguna Brahma is avang manasa gochara. It is beyond the pale of the mind and the buddhi or the intellect or even the speech. So it is beyond that. We cannot meditate on the Nirguna Brahma because what is beyond the mind, what is beyond the boundary of the mind, what is beyond the thoughts of the mind cannot be thought of. So what we can meditate is the Ishvara. Who is Ishvara? A beautiful description is given here. Yajna tapasam bhoktaram. Yajnanam tapasam cha kartrurupena devatarupena bhoktara. Bhoktara means recipient, enjoyer. And in other place, Shankaracharya says, Yajno vai Vishnuhu. Whatever connected with the yajna, whatever connected with the sacrifice, the whole sacrifice, the performer, that Agni or this fire and the elements involved in the sacrifice, everything is Vishnu. So that is the highest concept of the yajna. Yajno vai Vishnu. Here Bhoktara means he is the recipient. He is the enjoyer of the fruits of the yajna. So you are giving alms, you are giving a kind of sacrificial ahuti into the Agni. Who is receiving it? Agni is not in receiving, Agni is only a carrier. The Bhagavan himself is receiving. So that is the Bhoktara. He is the enjoyer of the whatever given in the Agni. So Bhoktaram Yajna Tapasam. Yajnanam Tapasam. So it is with regard to Yajna. What about tapas? So I meditate, I do lot of worship, I do penance, I do Ekadashi Vratam, or Monday I won't take night, I won't take food, Thursday night I won't take food, but I will take Uppittu, lot of Uppittu is there. So that is also a kind of Vrata. So these kind of Vratas, to whom we should offer? We should offer the results of the all kinds of Vrata, all kinds of tapas, all kinds of worship to God and God alone. We should surrender everything to God. The idea is that. So, Bhoktaram Yajna Tapasam. Yajna is different, tapas is different. And Shankaracharya explained, God himself is the Kartru. Who are you? Who is doing tapas or the yajna? You are the Kartru. You are the Kartru. The Kartru is nothing but Brahman itself. So we should remember this shloka, Brahmarpanam, Brahmahavihi, Brahmagnau, Brahmanahutam. So everything connected with the yajna or tapas is Brahman. Who is doing penance? The Brahman himself is doing penance. On whom he is meditating upon? He is meditating upon the Brahman. So Brahman is meditating upon Brahman. So Kartru, the doer of the penance and the doer of the sacrifice is nothing but God. Kartru Ishvara, Kartru Rupena. And also on whom he is meditating in the tapas, Devata Rupen, that is also God. God, Ishvara. So the Saguna Brahman. I am meditating on the Saguna Brahma Rupa, that is Sri Ramakrishna. Sri Ramakrishna is Saguna Brahma for me. I am meditating on Sri Krishna. Sri Krishna is a Saguna Brahma Rupa of the Supreme Lord, Supreme Being, Supreme Consciousness. I am meditating upon him. So Shankaracharya beautifully says, he is the recipient and the enjoyer of the yajna, means he is the form of Kartru, the doer of the yajna. He is of the form of the Devata, the deity of the yajna. There should be a deity. Indraya Swaha, Agnaye Swaha, Vishnave Swaha. So the offerings are given to some particular deity. Who is that deity? And Krishna later explained that deity is none other than me itself. You may be offering to oblations to Indra, but who is Indra? Indra is a part of me. I am not different from Indra. So in the case of the penance, you may be meditating on Ramakrishna. Who is Ramakrishna? Ramakrishna is one of the wonderful manifestation of the Supreme Lord Ishvara. So Kartru Rupena, Devata Rupena. So in the form of the doer as well as in the form of the Devata, I am the recipient, I am the enjoyer of both yajna as well as tapas. This is a wonderful description. It is a concise but exhaustive definition, exhaustive explanation of what is Ishvara, what is Saguna Brahman. So, on that person, on that entity, we have to meditate upon. So, we have to meditate on Yajna Tapasam Bhoktaram. And he is also Sarva Loka Maheshwaram. So, in Indian tradition, we have the concept of different lokas. So, Swahaha, Mahaha, etc. Bhuhu, Bhuvaha, Swahaha, Mahaha, Satya, etc. etc. So, there is a concept of 7 lokas above the earth and 7 lokas below the earth. Adholoka and Urdholoka and the Bhumi. So constituting 7 plus 7, 14 plus 15 lokas. So Sarvesham Lokanam. He is the Mahantam Ishwaram Maheshwaram. This is how beautifully Shankaracharya explained. What is Maheshwara? What is the difference between Maheshwara and the Ishvara? Mahantam, supreme. He is not an ordinary ruler. He is the greatest ruler. Mahantam Ishwaram Mahetvam. He is the greatest ruler, supreme ruler of all the lokas. Suhrudam, the same Ishvara is in our heart also, in the hearts of all. Suhrudam Sarva Bhutanam, and he is our friend. So there is a distinction between two words in Sanskrit. One is the Mitra and the another is Suhruda. Who is Suhruda? One who helps us, never expecting anything in return. He is called the Suhruda. In Sanskrit, Shankaracharya explains, Sarva Praninam Pratyupakara Nirapekshataya Upakarinam. Upakarinam, he is always engaged in the welfare of others, not expecting anything in return. In the case of all the organisms, in the case of all the beings, such a person is Ishvara. Can you name a single person who is doing good to everyone, all organisms, all animals, all insects, all the birds, all trees, all the plants, everything on this earth, without expecting anything in return? There cannot be any single human being who has the ability to do it. That can be only Ishvara. Suhrudam Sarva Bhutanam. Another explanation is this Paramatman is the life-giving force of every jiva. In plants we have that jiva, the life is there. In highest loka we say Prajapati loka, Brahma, Chaturmukha, he has also a life. And what is the life in Brahma? The life force in Brahma is equal to life force in the plant. So there is no difference but it. What is that life force? The life force is that of Paramatman. Paramatman is the life force. So the very existence of everything. So in Sanskrit we say Abrahma Stamba Pariyantam. From Chaturmukha Brahma, the creator Brahma, up to the ordinary plants, every jiva, every being has a life force. That life force itself is Paramatman. He is the Antaryami, he is the indwelling spirit of every being. In the 13th chapter we are going to read, Krishna says, I am the Kshetrajna residing in every Kshetra. Kshetrajna means spiritual being, which is entity which is present in the conglomeration or the complex of the body and mind. The Kshetra is called the body and mind complex. Within that there is the Kshetrajna. That Kshetrajna is the same in all. Kshetrajna is not different. Who is that Kshetrajna? The Paramatma is the Kshetrajna. So he is the Suhruda, real Suhruda. He is helping us by giving the very life force. He is our life and life of life. He is our soul of soul. In that way also, he is the friend. He is the benefactor of the whole, all the beings. Suhrudam sarva bhutanam. Natva is given in the end. But it should be connected to every word. So already we have explained Bhoktaram Yajna Tapasam Gnatva, having known the recipient or the enjoyer of the yajna and the tapas, Saruva Loka Maheshwaram, only the supreme uh, Ishvara. Ishvara means the ruler, who is the supreme ruler of all the lokas, and he residing in the hearts of all. He is the benefactor of all the living beings, from ordinary plants up to the Chaturmukha Brahma, who is living in the highest sphere in the samsara. Gnatva, having known him. What is Gnatva? Gnatva doesn't mean just knowing. I know the part, I know chemistry, I know physics. It is not like that. Gnatva means, according to Vedantic term, knowing that the consciousness of God is not different from the consciousness of my individual. As an individual, I do not exist. What is in me is the supreme consciousness of God and God alone. That experience, that anubhuti, Krishna Shankaracharya says, avagati paryantam brahma jidnasa, he says in the Brahma Sutra Bhashya. What is meant by avagati? So we have to go on deliberating on Brahman. We have to make use of our intellect, best use of our intellect, until we get that realization, our experience that I am Brahman. It is I who has become all. So what is the result of that experience that I am Brahman? I will become everything. Sarva Mahamatu. Aham Brahmasmi iti. What is the result? I will become everything. Suhrudam Sarva Bhutanam Natva. What is the result? Shantim Ruchati. This is the real peace. There is absolutely no peace in the dualistic world. And Shankaracharya adds some more epithets or the characteristics to the Lord. He says, he is the Sarva Bhutanam Hrudayesham. Isha, he is the ruler. He by be residing in the heart of heart as the spiritual consciousness, or in the words of Bhagavadgita, he resides at the he resides at the Kshetrajna. He rules everything. He rules our heart. He rules our intellect. Who rules our mind? Who rules our body, indriyas? He is the Lord of every part of our body. It is in the microcosmic sense, Sukshma. In the same way, Sarvaloka Maheshwaram, he is the ruler of the whole world. That is in the macrocosmic sense. So both in the microcosmic sense as well as the macrocosmic sense, he rules everything. He is inside everything. And also he is Sarva Karma Phaladyakshaha. Already we have learnt here. Bhoktaram Yajna Tapasam. He is the Kartru Rupena, Devata Rupena. What is Devata? Devata means one who receives the ablution. So Indraya Swaha, when you say the Paramatman manifested in the form of the Indra, receives the oblation and gives the result for that particular karma. It is God and God alone who gives the result, not there is no entity, independent entity as the Brahma Indra. It is he who has become Indra. It is he who has become Agni. It is he who has become Vayu. It is he who has become all the Devatas mentioned in the Vedas and the Upanishad. Sarupa karma phaladyaksha, whatever we do, it is he who gives the results to that work. If I have done something wrong, what is the result? I had to suffer. That suffering is the result. Karma phala is the suffering. Punyam punyena punyam punyena papam papena. The Upanishad says. It is simple rule. If you do a wrong action, evil action, we have to suffer. If we do good action, we have to enjoy. We enjoy the results of the karma. And who is the governor? There should be a system. There should be somebody who is presiding over that system. That presiding officer of the system of the karma is Paramatma or the Ishvara. Saruva Pratyaya Sakshinaha. A lot of epistemology and psychology is involved. Our thoughts have to be lighted by something. So we are sitting here, the light is illuminating us. If there is no light, even if you are present, I cannot see you and you cannot see me. It is the light which is illuminating me as well as you. In the same way, all the thoughts in the mind, pratyaya, thoughts of a table we are seeing, thoughts of the music we are hearing, thoughts of the taste we are tasting, or those are something. All the thoughts enter into mind, and in between there may be thoughts of suffering, thoughts of the enjoyment, thoughts of the joyness. So many kinds of thoughts are fluctuating in our mind, and there should be a witness to all these things. Somebody should be illuminating that. That illuminating light is Jyoti. Jyoti hi Atma. That Atma itself is Jyoti. That Atman itself, Antaryami Paramatma Ishvara. So, Sarva Pratyaya Dakshinam Jnatva, having known the man Shantim Gacchati. Shankaracharya says, Sarva Samsara Uparatim Gacchati. That means the cessation of all kinds of samsara. The students of Vedanta, Bhagavadgita is a part and parcel of Vedanta. Vedanta doesn't mean only Upanishad. Whatever has been instructed, whatever has been exclusively spelt out in the Upanishads has been given, told to ordinary people in a very, very simple manner in the Bhagavad Gita. So Bhagavad Gita is nothing but the reader of the Upanishad. So here samsara is tantamount to dukkha. Dukkha means there is samsara. If there is no samsara, there is no dukkha. It is as simple as that. So samsara means transmigration from one birth to another, having recurring birth and recurring death, having the body, enjoying the external object. That it is not an enjoyment at all, it is all dukkha, sarvam dukkham vivekinaha. To be free from such recurring dukkha, from the eternal dukkha of the samsara, to be free, that itself is shanti, peace. Shantim ruchyati, shantim prapnoti. This is the end of the 5th chapter. Om Tatsaditi Srimad Bhagavad Su Upanishadsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Shri Krishnarjuna Samvade Karma Sannyasa Yogo Nama Panchamodhyayaha. Now begins the 6th chapter. 6th chapter is called the Dhyana Yoga. It's a beautiful yoga. So the context is very important for us. So I will tell you a few words about the context. First we have to understand what is detached work and how it leads to enlightenment. And the Krishna in the beginning itself, in the 6th chapter, he says, the real sannyasin and the real yogin are one and the same. So, what is sannyasa? Detachment. What is karma yoga? The detachment. The common characteristic in each sannyasi as well as the yogi is the detachment in the work. Perhaps the sannyasi has realized the Atman. He may or he may not do the work. It is no bar for him. There is no condition such a person who has realized Brahman should work. But if he continues to do the work, it is well and good. But the whole purpose of his doing the work is the welfare of the world. Loka sangraha mevartam sampashyan kartum arhatim. So, who is real sannyasi? He is with detachment, and yogin also, who is this detachment. And Krishna says in the very first sloka, he says, Na niragnihi na cha akriyaha. One who has given up the yajna, etc. So that involves agni, that involves the fire. Why I have given up, you will not become the sannyasi. I have given up all the karmas involving the agni or the fire. Now I have become a sannyasi. No, you have not become a sannyasi. Or nacha akriyaha. There are hundreds of welfare activities a sannyasi must engage in. He should serve the people. He should serve the society. If he discontinues all these things, he says he becomes inert as if idle, not doing anything. Such person cannot be a sannyasi. So, if renunciation of the work is not sannyasa, that what is sannyasa? The sannyasa is detachment in work, detachment towards the enjoyments of this world, not having the craving or the hankering for this world, the worldly enjoyment. So, as Krishna emphasizes here, real sannyasa and real karma yoga are not different as people think. We say, so, oh, he is not doing anything, he is a sannyasi, we are doing karma, we are different. Krishna says, if you can develop detachment in your work, if you practice karma yoga in the right spirit, you are also to be called sannyasi. You are also sannyasi. Of course, in the figurative sense, sannyasa doesn't mean one should give up the hearth and home and wear the ochre cloth and live a particular kind of life, particular style of life. Sannyasa can be practiced even in the home by practicing complete detachment in work. One who is really detached is a karma yogi. So, sannyasa and the karma yoga both have common point. What is that common point? Mind should have the capacity to abandon all hankerings, attachments, and hopes and expectations. There are hundreds of people, real karma yogis. They are married people, they are leading householders' life. So they have all these characteristics. They don't have abandoned the hankerings, attachment. They don't have any hopes. They don't have any expectation. Their only aim of work is to please God. Bhagavad Aradhanartham karma. So just to worship the God, every work is a worship for them. We call them as karma yogi. Such a karma yogi is the real sannyasi. Neyasva nitya sannyasi, Krishna says. So, the only difference between a karma yoga and a sannyasi is one he is karma yogi is in the early stage of discipline, spiritual discipline. He is trying to ascend to the status of a dhyana yogi. I want to do dhyana yoga. I want to do meditation. When I sit for meditation, my mind is going here and there. I am not able to do. Then what the teacher suggests? First practice karma yoga. So he is called Arurukshu. So there are two beautiful words we are going to study in the near future, perhaps in the next class itself. Arurukshu and Yoga Rudha. Arurukshu means one who is striving in the path. So Karma Yogi is in the striving. He is doing work, but still there are a lot of hope, there are a lot of expectation, there are a lot of attachments in him. He is trying to shut up everything. Shut up those misgivings, shut up those evil thoughts and passion. And such person is trying to ascend to the status of a meditative person. Who is a meditative person? Now, last chapter we have already described. One who has renounced everything, karma sannyasi, he can only the meditative person. If you cannot renounce the attachment, you cannot become a meditative person. In order to achieve the perfection in meditate, we have to practice meditation along with the karma yoga. This is what Krishna says. The only difference is that one who is in the early stages of the discipline, struggling to gain this non-attached condition, work in a literal sense is essential. For him, work is very essential because he would otherwise lapse into idleness and hypocrisy. These are all the summary given by Swami Tapasyanandaji, one of the erudite scholars the Ramakrishna Mutt and Mission has produced. We have his excellent translation of the Bhagavadgita. Along with work, he should practice introspection and meditation. That's what I told. Along with the karma yoga, one should practice meditation and introspection. We may not be adept in meditation. We may not have mastered the meditation. Still, meditation helps us. Without meditation, we cannot develop detachment. That is what Swamiji writes here. He gives the summary of the first few verses of the Dhyana Yoga. Along with the work, he should practice introspection and meditation also. Very important, for without that, he cannot keep the sense of detachment, dedication, and desirelessness while working. These are the three important points: desirelessness, dedication, and detachment, without which a karma yoga cannot be there. It will be karma, that's all. Activity may be there, but that it will not become a karma yoga. So three important characteristics, as Swami Tapasyanji says: detachment, dedication, and desirelessness. And these three can be achieved only through introspection, contemplation, and the meditation. So work or karma becomes yoga. So we have to transform karma into karma yoga only under the condition of supplementing work with meditation. So we have to combine the meditation along with the karma yoga, without which karma yoga cannot be practiced in its true spirit and in the real sense. But for one who has become established in detachment, now I have already ascended the status. Now I have practiced karma yoga and meditation. Now I have become completely detached. If it is the state, then introspection becomes the means of sadhana. Means, of course, one can continue to work. He should continue to introspect more deeply. If he loses the power of introspection, if he falls from the contemplation, and he will lose that status. So the first condition is called Aruruksha, one who is trying to ascend, one is trying to climb up the ladder. The second state of perfection is called the Arudha. But for one who has become established in this attachment, Shama, introspection, becomes the main base of further progress. So there are also stages in the Arudha. So one can attain that Arudha state, but there are stages. So if you want to become perfect in that state, so we have to practice more and more meditation and more introspection we have to develop. This test of having reached that state, what is the test? There should be no expectation of fruits, no sense of agency. Phalarthi one should not become, always craving for the results, always saying, I am the doer, I am the doer. So this should not be there. One with such attainment can abandon actions without any fear of degeneration, but need not necessarily do so. So if you achieve that state, so I have already given the example of Ramana Maharshi. Ramana Maharshi, there was no condition for him. Nobody forces him, nobody forced him to do work. Still he was doing the work. He was dressing the vegetables in the kitchen, and he was working in the cowshed. So such works are not binding for him. Still he was continuing to do. He may do or may not do. While practicing introspective discipline intensively, he can engage himself into action that are contributive to the welfare of the world. That is what Loka Sangraha Mevartam, Janaka and Ashwapati, all these people were ascended themselves to the state of Yoga Rudaha, the perfect yogis, still work for the welfare of the people. Whereas action is a must for the former, that is Karma Yogi, and it is only a may for the latter. He may or may not do it. But the cultivation of detachment, that's what Krishna begins. Asanyasta sankalpaha. So I will explain in the next class what is sankalpa, how to give up, etc., etc. So, but the cultivation of the detached mind, free from hopes and expectation, is common in both sannyasi as well as karma yogi. So one should not differentiate between karma yogi and sannyasi. Sannyasi has got that detachment, and also the karma yogi also has got the detachment. The only difference is sannyasi has attained this status of perfection. The karma yogi is on the path towards the perfection. So in order to extol the greatness of the karma yoga, this is very important, and Shankaracharya watches for it. In order to extol or appreciate the greatness of the karma yoga, Krishna equates karma yoga with sannyasa. This is the sum and substance of the chapter, sum and substance of first few shlokas of the chapter. We are going to start from the next class. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Shri Rama Krishna Arpanamastu.